Welcome to In Between Artists, a podcast about navigating sustainable creative careers. I'm your host, Stephanie Brown, and an interdisciplinary artist. I've been pursuing my own art career for 12 years and counting. This podcast is a space where I hope to help you pursue your own. An In Between Artist is someone just 5 to 10 or even 15 steps ahead of you. Someone not so far ahead that they can relate to where you are and provide meaningful and fresh insight. This podcast will feature honest and accessible conversations with guest artists. We'll talk money, navigating obstacles, building networks, and more. This podcast is designed to help aspiring, active, and dormant artists alike kickstart, revamp, or endure their art and design careers. Identify your future mentors and a custom creative career path right here on In Between Artists. You're watching another episode of the In Between Artists podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Brown, and I'm here with my special guest today, Adana Tillman.
Hello everyone. Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you.
Thank you.
So I met Adana very early on in my time in Atlanta, actually, because the Tila Studios Fellowship was like the first big art thing I did when I came here, and that was 2019?
2019.
Yeah, 2019.
Well, that's so funny. That's the biggest art thing I did as well.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, so yeah.
It was a nice start. A nice start. So how long had you been in Atlanta? Because you're not originally from here either.
I'm not. I'm originally from Akron, Ohio. I have been in Atlanta now probably 11, going on to 12 years now. Okay. Yeah. So I don't see me moving, but you never know where the winds will take you. But yeah.
You've been here a while now.
Yeah, it's been a while now. I'm kind of locked in. I know where I'm going. I know the traffic. So yeah.
A little less GPS.
Exactly. I'm like, I just figured it out. I can't go now. But
right. Yeah. So what brought you to Atlanta from Ohio?
Honestly, I wanted to work in costume and wardrobe for films.
Okay.
And I hated the snow. And I was like, when I came, the film industry was just kind of getting started. There wasn't a lot going on. And I was like, well, it'll be a great way
It's booming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. I know it's coming. So like, there's a lot of productions moving there. And I was like, oh, that would be great. I had a cousin who had just moved maybe 2 years before me. She moved down here for her job. She's a physician's assistant. And she's like, you can come and stay with me for a while and see, where you would want to live or if you want to stay or anything. So that brought me down here, and I was, doing extra work on different TV shows. I've been a zombie. I've been I've been on multiple features, and I've done some like small indie pictures doing wardrobe and costume, and day played on a few TV shows. So that was what brought me down here, and then it kind of all morphed into the I'm an artist thing. But yeah.
Did you see that for yourself coming down here, or like, did you go to art school? Like, what was your artistic background, or were you just kind of focused on like sewing and that kind of thing?
It's when I came down here, I wasn't focused on it at all. Like, it all just kind of happened by happy accident.
We like happy accidents.
Exactly, yes. I'm a textile and fiber artist, so I have been sewing since I was young, maybe 5 or 6 with my mom, but I've never thought of it, I'm an artist, I work with fiber and materials.
You were thinking like practical jobs with your sewing skills.
Yeah, like, I could make me a nice dress to go. I made my dresses for homecoming and stuff like that. I was like, I can make me an outfit. I can know how to tailor, make my stuff look great.
Yep.
But I never thought about it in that way. And I did go to a visual arts middle school and high school.
Okay.
That focused on visual arts areas or dance or music. So I did have a little bit of practical background, but it still never hit me. You're going to be an artist. You can do this. It was just like, this is something nice for now. But so I was in Atlanta, and I just started working back again with fabrics just as like a creative outlet.
Okay.
You would come home from work, you eat dinner, you go to sleep, and it's just like Groundhog Day. Yeah. And it's just repetitive. And I'm like, I got to break this up. So that was really just a creative outlet. Wasn't showing anywhere, wasn't trying to sell the work. It was strictly just for me. And then one post on Instagram before Instagram was Instagram, and then it kind of went from there. yeah.
What was that pivot point?
I just posted, no one was on Instagram. I just posted a picture. It was a grainy, horrible picture. And someone messaged me and said, I want to buy it. And I said,
And it was a
why?
picture of what?
It was one of my first works. It was like an 8x10 piece portrait of just someone I just made up in
And
my
this
mind.
is a textile portrait?
Yeah, it was a textile
Okay.
portrait.
Was that one of your first textile portraits?
It was.
Okay.
It was. And they said, I was like, are you selling it? I was like, selling it? I was just posting it. What would you want for it? And I was like, I don't know. Let me get back to you. But yeah, that was the start of that.
Did you ever actually sell it?
I did, which I think by now, I wish I wouldn't have sold my first one. But I wanted to keep it. But then
do you know who they are?
I do.
Okay. I was like, they need to know that like that's really valuable, and I hope they still have it.
I hope they do, and I hope
behind
it's
not security glass or
somewhere.
something.
But yeah. But then I started looking back on in high school and middle school. I did have several when they said, do what you want with this project. They were textile pieces.
Oh.
So it was there. It was in the back of my mind. I just didn't realize.
I love those full circle moments.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I like asking about like what your background was. Because oftentimes it's not until we're in the art practice and actually doing the thing where you're just like, I've been collaging for a long time, or I've always liked kind of figuring things out, or I've always liked working with this particular medium. It's,
exactly.
We don't necessarily have the language for it in elementary school and that kind of thing. So I love for those things to come back around.
What happened? I don't know. And then it's like I met Faith Ringo when I was in middle school.
Ooh.
Yes, went to our local art museum and she was there. And of course, they had some of her work hanging. And I had her sign our copy, me and my mother's copy of Tar Beach. And she signed one of my mother's quilt blocks that she had put together. And she wrote little notes. Yeah, still have it. Nice and pristine. But yeah, so I was just like, it was always there. It's just lingering in the back there. But yeah.
So you end up selling your first piece on Instagram very randomly. And then what was going through your mind from that point?
I thought it was a fluke. I was like,
like a one time, not going to happen again.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just keep making things. It was, it's still nice. I like to collect fabric and still sketch and draw. Then it wasn't until someone's like, well, they was like, you should sell more of these. You have more, you should sell more. And I was like, well, I had no idea where do you go to sell things, because I only knew of a museum and a gallery, and I knew that's not the space I was in at that time. And a friend of mine was like, well, hey, my church is having like a fair, and it's books, arts, or whatever, crafts, whatever you want to come sell. And like table rental is like $50. I said, sure. And it was actually the Word Church out here. I think it might be at East Point it gets in.
Okay.
But yeah, so Saturday morning, my cousin who had moved down here before me, she came and helped me. We set up my little tent. I had my pieces. They were 8x10. We had them clothespinned to the edges of the tent. And then I had a couple just laying out on the table. And that was my first little
setup.
My little setup. Yes. Aww. It's very popular if I just,
I love that.
But yeah, so that was kind of hey, you can do that. You can do this.
At this point, are you still doing kind of odd jobs through Atlanta in film and out of film?
Yes. Still seeing if that could work, if that could sustain me. Day playing is, just picking up if the main person is out or they called off or something has happened and you need someone to fill in. I would do that. And I was still doing extra work as well, because you'll get a call in the middle of the night or in the morning.
Be there all day, right?
Yeah, they'll be there all day and they'll feed you and all that great stuff. So that was good.
Okay. So walk me through, when did that no longer become sustainable, and what type of work did you look for, and what did you end up landing? Financially, I mean, at that point, Atlanta wasn't costing what it costs now, but it's still like a city. So. Yeah.
Not at all. And I was thinking back about the rent I paid when I first got here versus now. I'm like,
tell us.
I think it was like I was at the cusp of, it's Brookhaven now, but it was Atlanta and Decatur, which is hot right now. Brookhaven's not. It's hot right now, so I was right on the cusp. And I think my rent was like $6 something, and then now I'm like over 1,000, like over 1,100. And I'm just like, But yeah, back in Ohio, I was working at a bank. So and I had like 5 or 6 years in banking. So I knew if
If you needed something.
you can apply for a bank job, teller job, and that's something. So I did that when I was like, we need to pay these bills. They're not waiting on me. So I started a bank job for a little while. And then I was like, no, I really want to pursue costume and wardrobe, because you still have to be, the thing is, you have to be available.
Yeah.
If you're not available, then they start to skip you over when things do come up. So then I went back to trying to pursue the costume and wardrobe again. And then I did that for like a year and a half, and then it wasn't sustainable still. So then I went back I actually started working for a medical practice,
Okay.
setting appointments. And that was okay. I was doing it part-time, so I was able to still do things, if not in the evening, some days and weekends,
Okay.
where I could still do wardrobe if they called me, or if it's a night shoot. I love the good night shoot.
Yeah.
Because then you can just
work the day job,
and then just head on out. But yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. And did that for a little while. And what really started to pick up momentum is a coworker at the medical job. She is the one who told me about Tila and the fellowship. Yes.
Okay.
And we're still friends to this day. And I was just like, you really actually got me started.
Aww.
And she was like, yeah, I know. But yeah,
send me royalties later.
Exactly. So she told me about the Tila Fellowship, and I applied. And I actually didn't get in that first year. So that was 2018.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's like, well, just try it again. She's like, you never know. So I worked on my portfolio and making it more cohesive and kind of really studying.
Now, were you working in a silo, or like who were you bouncing ideas off of?
Myself.
Okay.
Because I didn't know at that point, I didn't know any other artists that I could kind of reach out to and like, hey, so it was really Google and YouTube University on writing an artist statement, your bio, and those type of things. Okay. So I can
kudos to doing the work even alone.
Yeah, you got to figure it out. I would ask, a lot of my family either worked at the post office or in the medical field. They're like, I don't know anything about an artist statement, Donna. I don't know anything about doing a bio.
Right.
And I was like, well, I just thought I'd ask.
Right.
But so then the second year I applied, I got in. So then that kind of really started the snowball effect and me taking my practice, where it is now.
I love
so grateful to them. So grateful. Shout out to Tiffany.
And for those who don't know, Tila Studios was founded by Tiffany Latrice. We were part of, that was just the second cohort.
Yes.
The second cohort of Black female artists out of Atlanta. She's since expanded now, so you don't have to specifically live in Atlanta. But it's such a beautiful opportunity. It was a really great like family environment to like build our practice, artist statements, things like that. And the big culminating thing is we got to go to Basel. So we were a part of Prism Art Fair.
Yes.
That was my first time going to Basel.
Me too.
And I'm from Florida, so like that was a big deal. I was just like, my work's at Basel. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
But that was a great learning experience too, and a huge network experience. There's a lot of people that I still work with and call on today that I met during that time there.
Me as well. I was like, and it's so bad that I hadn't even heard about that art fair until like 2016, 2017. I was like, it's a what? And he was like, Adana, yeah.
But the whole art scene was new to you.
Yeah, I'm like, this is all new to me. I was just trying to listen, this was just therapeutic for me creating this work. So I didn't have, and I don't have a BFA, so I wasn't in that collegiate like art frame of mind. So I was like, no, I didn't know. It's all a learning thing. I was happy to be there.
And you're such a great testament because that collegiate state of mind or kind of background is not required.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And you've paved a way regardless. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I was like, I just keep hustling. I keep learning. And then I was like, I'm very big on, I love to take classes. I read books. I like getting books from the library. I like to flip a page. I know. And I like to go off and do workshops. So it's always a continuous learning thing. So I've never felt like I'm behind in a sense, or I was like, it's still things to learn. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Like I went and learned how to make tennis shoes.
Nice.
So I was like, I went to Denver with my mom. We took a 2-day class, sewed them and everything, brought the
That's cool.
fabric. So it's always a learning thing.
Yeah. Lifelong learner vibes.
Exactly. Yes, yes, yes.
So can you tell me or tell everyone? I mean, I'm familiar with your art practice, but and I also know that wasn't easy for you to figure out like even how to describe what you do, but
Yes. Still evolving.
let us know, how do you describe your art practice? What kind of artist are you?
I like to call myself a fiber artist. I've kind of settled into that.
Okay.
I create contemporary quilts that consist of a lot of figurative works and, portraits on my work. So they're constructed just like a quilt, but not as functional. Of course, they hang like fine art. Um, I've been kind of fighting what I call myself a quilt artist or textiles. And depending on who you talk to and how, I feel like it depends on how they experience quilts,
Yeah.
is how they would then define me.
Are they seeing grandmas and knitting baskets and like
Yes,
crochet tools?
exactly. That's exactly what they think. They see that in their head, and so they think that. But then I like them to really experience the work, because once they see it, when they are thinking grandma's quilt crochet hooks, I know they're thinking traditional quilts. They're thinking very squares, very geometric, simple, color palettes. Maybe it's not a very. They can be vibrant, but usually you don't see it. Maybe primary colors really worked in traditional quilting. And there was a prime example. I was in San Francisco for a show, and I was trying to explain to this woman what I did. And when I said close to her, she thought, oh, that's exactly my grandmother's quilts, very geometric, that type of traditional quilting. And then I showed her pictures of my work, and she said, oh, this is all fabric. This is not anything what I thought at all. And she's like, so it is a quilt, but it's not a quilt, which, yes.
Non-functional
Quilt. So I kind of settled on like textile fiber artist, because it can transition. I don't know where my quilts will go from here. And just to give me that frame of freedom in my frame of mind, that's how I like to refer to it myself. But yeah.
I love that. I'd love to learn more about if you've experienced this, but with the type of medium that you work in particular, I've seen other artists get pigeonholed in the arts and crafts realm, and not necessarily in the fine art realm.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, our Faith Ringgold's and I mean, all of your like Hallmark artists who work in textiles as well, I think have helped break that type of conversation, because now people are used to seeing that in more like blue chip type of spaces,
exactly.
where that probably wasn't the case 20 years ago. But how have you encountered, or kind of staying away from like the arts and crafts space versus trying to keep yourself within fine art?
It's a delicate line. I really like to look at opportunities and see where, if my work is there, how is it going to be viewed in certain opportunities and spaces, and really just be discerning when I'm looking. If I've only shown these places, or I do this fair, is this primarily craft? And kind of looking at the experience or opportunity as a whole. Is it seen more as a craft show or a craft fair, or are they incorporating fine arts? And so when I am presented with opportunities and when I'm looking, that's really kind of, I'm looking at the overall presentation of the works and other artists. I like to look at who's already included and see how they are perceived, because I want to tread that line. Like, it does have craft elements, but this is fine art work that and how it's presented. So it's really just looking at opportunities and kind of putting a real eye to how, if my work is here, how will it be viewed, and then just kind of going in that way. But
that makes sense. That makes sense. Now at Basel, I didn't sell any work, but you sold work. So I want to know, how has like Adana sold work and then Loki disappeared? So I want to know, and in a good way, right? In a good way, because when Adana would resurface, it was like show here, new piece here, residency opportunity here. And I'm just looking at my phone like, okay, okay, go Adana, go Adana, go.
I find that hilarious because you're not the only person. Things like Adana will see something and then you completely fall off the planet. And then when you come back, it's just something like, what?
And I think that's a good thing though, because I think that we should be more transparent about that, because there's all this like pressure of like, you're supposed to be making a whole new body of work and promoting yourself and getting your next opportunity like all at the same time and keeping people up to date in real time. Like that's just ridiculous.
It's
So
so
for me,
stressful.
like all those whole moments are like, okay, what's she working on?
Yeah.
Like what she's thinking about, what is she researching, and like, and when you surface, like maybe we'll get to see glimpses of that, but I think it's important for people to understand like the reality
Yeah.
of the practice, especially when we're still trying to pave our own way. Like we're everything. We are our agent, our marketing person. So let me know, like, what have been the highlights post Basel in 2019 that have really helped move your career forward?
Okay. First, it is a one-stop shop. You do everything.
Yeah.
And I'm horrible at social media. I don't like to film myself much. I just get into a studio and I work. So then I might be dyeing fabric for 8 hours. But at the end of the hours, I was like, oh, that would have been great to do a time lapse. Or or when I'm doing stitching, once I get done with some difficult stitch and I'm like, oh, this looks amazing. This would have been great if I would have took some video of it. But yeah, I don't think in the moment, record this, document that. It's just me kind of in my head working. So that's where you won't see too much of me online unless there's a show coming up. I like to tell people I'm not a factory. No artist is a factory, and they shouldn't be.
Yes.
So expecting like a new piece every day or new pieces every week is not sustainable, and it's not helpful to the artist. That's the quickest way to burn out.
Right.
So post Basel, it was a little lull after. I didn't really and that was the start of COVID.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So we had a little lull, and then COVID came, and then I'm just like, I don't know. There's no shows. I'm not sure what to do. But then I just started working on some different things. Just again, creative outlet, stress reliever, and I posted a few things. And COVID was a time where people were buying straight off the internet. And
paying more attention
and pay more
attention.
Less
to do.
Yeah. And so, but I do find it's actually hard for me to sell online because my pieces are so tactile. It's hard to photograph and see that detail of stitching, beadwork, or the different fabrics.
Cotton? Is it polyester?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fuzzy. I would have never known.
Yeah, or the dyeing, or you seeing these different patterns and stuff. It's hard to kind of translate that very well through online. So I do better when people can see the work in person. But during COVID, of course, they were, snapping things up as I would post them. And I'm like, this is not even done. Which, I mean, it's great. It will get done. But there's a little bit of lull, and then COVID. And so I was just making pieces sporadically. And if they posted online, great. If not, but I wasn't dependent on it because I still had a part-time job at that time. So I was still working, and I didn't really worry about it. I'm creating because I want to create, and that's kind of my mind space. I create because I want to create, not because there's a deadline or there's a show where I want to make
hot demand.
So I just want to create because I want to, because that was the whole point of this in the first place. So I want to keep with that. But after that, I got into a few group shows, which was helpful. And I did a couple like online interviews, and that kind of helped me through that time and to get into shows. And I think what really helped is I had applied for an artist residency back in my hometown of Akron. It was the Akron Soul Train residency, and it was like the month of December.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I can spend the holidays with my family and work on some new pieces. And that that residency led to you could do a solo show in that following year.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I did a solo show in February or March of 2021.
Okay.
So that was, and I had like maybe 10 pieces at that point that I had worked on. So that was a really like, boom, oh, these are amazing. The reception of it was really well. And that's what kind of started bringing me, okay, time is over, break is over.
Yeah.
And then that kind of propelled me into other opportunities. And I was like, you need to focus on being your admin person, finding opportunities, and applying for opportunities, looking for grants so that you can create more work.
How were you prioritizing those things, right? Because you just mentioned a lot of things, and it's true. Like, I mean, we got to be doing all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you prioritize, like, finding a residency versus finding a grant, or like finding opportunities? What were some of your go-to resources?
There's a couple places that like Artwork Archive and maybe Creative
Capital.
Yes.
Yeah. Those are my two favorites.
Yeah. So I would kind of keep
I recommend them all the time.
Yeah. I keep an eye on those, and I would keep a notebook, and I would write down the opportunity and the due date. Because me going back and forth to the website, it kind of get me lost. So I would write down that and the due date. And I tried to take maybe like a Sunday, Monday are my big ones because Mondays are black. So I can write and fill out stuff. So I would try to focus on maybe 1 or 2 days out the week that I'll fill out an application or look for applications.
Okay.
And then Sunday I'm winding down, Monday is blah. So I can like, not going to be creative at that time. So I was like, I can do it that day and kind of give myself a schedule.
Okay.
And then I would work on artwork maybe for the rest of the week. But filling out applications drive me up a wall.
Yeah.
All the essay questions and the artist statement, and change your artist statement. It needs to be this many characters, and your bio needs to be short.
Version A, B, C, D, E.
And that's what I have on my laptop right now.
Yeah.
It's just versions after versions. Yeah. So yeah. So
it's like the full one, the 500 character one, the under 100 word one. Like, what am I going to say in under 100 words?
The 100 word one kills me every time. But yeah, so I was like, I got to focus that on the day. I can't be creative at this point, but yeah.
So kudos to you as well, because while you're doing all of this, you are working.
Yes.
Like, you're working a regular job as well. And I think artists don't get enough credit for that. Where it's like, okay, are you doing this full time? Like, I want to be. Yeah. I want to be a full-time artist, but it's like jumping and moving to a place like New York or LA, and it's just like, I'm gonna make it and live out of my car. Sometimes I feel like there are people in the art world who like expect you to take those types of risks, and it's just like, but I have a mortgage or I have a family. And it's just like, both can coexist. Like, you can still be fully invested and full-time in your art, but also full-time at another job. So how has that balance been for you?
I feel that when people ask, are you full-time artist or not? I feel that there has been a judgment. Are you that dedicated to your art practice?
How serious are you?
How serious are you about it? If you still have your regular full-time job, I can be fully serious.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, like, I would work all day. I would get off at 5 and I would work on artwork from like, I would eat. That would take me to like 6. I used to have to break it down in my mind because I'm like, how am I going to do it all? So I would eat, and then I would eat dinner. Hopefully I would try to work out, and that doesn't happen all the time. And then I would work on artwork to maybe like midnight. And if I get a second win, my second win would come at like 10:30, 11. Then I know I'm not going to sleep until 3. And I was just like, why do I do this to myself? But yeah, and to me, that can sometimes mean more dedication. Like this, like you've woken up, you've worked this full day for someone else, and you still have to pour into yourself into the evening.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of artists work a day job, and I think their commitment is just as serious, and if not more committed than someone who's solely focused has for each day. They just wake up and to make art, which is beautiful. And that is the dream, and that is the goal. But
we'll get there.
Yeah, the bills are calling. Light bill, gas bill. They don't care about your dreams. They want to be paid.
And it's the growth for me too,
Yeah.
because it's like just meeting your bills is one thing. I feel like that's like breaking even, right? It's like, okay, the roof over my head, I could feed myself, I could afford the gym, like, my all these subscriptions, right? But then it's like, don't you want to save? Don't you want a vacation sometimes? Like, where's that money coming from?
You want a vacation. You want to save up for when you're older.
Yeah.
You want a 401k. You want you want all these things that to give yourself a safety net, and that comes with some sacrifice. So
we definitely need to have more leeway or grace, I think, around that. But you're saying you've experienced where there's some judgment, people are just kind of like, oh, okay, maybe I won't look at you or consider someone else.
Exactly. I've with different opportunities over the years, it's been you see it as fleeting, but you can see it.
It's like a microaggression.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can see it. It was quick, but like, oh, is she serious? Do I want to work with her? Is she serious about this? Is it about the work? I mean, the work speaks for itself, people. I'm just
say that.
Yeah.
So let's get into your exhibition history. What does that look like? Would have been like some milestone? I mean, if people want to know them all, they can go check out your CV. But what would you say have been some of like the milestone opportunities, which might be maybe was residency or exhibition, similar to like the one in Akron, Ohio, was great. That was a win-win situation with your family, and then you also got a solo show out of it. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
What kind of followed that were some milestone parts in your career?
Well, before that, Tila in Basel, that was the first one. Just want to shout out, the one in Akron, Ohio was so wonderful. I had classmates come from my art schools and some of my teachers, so it was amazing to have them come and support me.
I think that's a big deal for like a K through 12 art teacher to just be like, oh, look at my student.
Yes, I was so excited.
I'm still buddies with my photography teacher from high school.
Yes, Mrs. Yingling from Miller South. Yeah, she comes to my shows in my middle school, art school. I love her, and she comes from. She's so wonderful. But yeah, we're still buddies online, and
I love it.
So yes, after that one, trying to think. Oh my gosh. I did another group show here in Atlanta. Forgive me, I don't.
It's fine.
Know the exact space. I did do a wonderful residency on an island off the coast of Vancouver. Ooh, gorgeous. I only stayed for a week. Wish I could have stayed longer. It was just so quiet and so serene. There's less than 3,000 people on this island.
Oh, wow.
And it was just, I walked for days, got to work on my artwork and just sit out in serene and just, it was gorgeous.
I love that.
Galliano Island.
Okay.
Yes. And then I did a residency with Hambidge.
Oh, yeah. Love Hambidge.
Yes.
That was a pleasant surprise for me.
It was.
I was like, oh, no, I'm not a woodsy person.
I'm not woodsy. I am a woodsy person. I'm a Girl Scout from way back, and I saw a bear, and I still... and then they was like, are you sure it wasn't a dog? I said, I know what a bear looked like. I'm from Ohio. I know what a bear looks like.
Oh, man, they tried it.
But yes, so from there, I did... I had got a group show offering from Hambidge.
Oh, nice.
So that was kind of where that started. And then I applied for the Mint Gallery's call for solo shows for their, that was been 2021? No, 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, because, it
was closer to Sierra show.
Yeah, some mask, no mask. So, 2022, yeah. So yes, I did. That was my first solo show for Atlanta.
In Atlanta. Okay.
So that was, to me, I have been working with Tila. I had maybe one pieces and a group show here and there. So that was my introduction.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it.
And is that wild too? Because like, look how long by that point you've already been in Atlanta, based in Atlanta, working in Atlanta. And I wish more people like thought about that.
Yeah.
It's like, we got to go outside to like get these opportunities when, you know, we're living in what's supposed to be like a booming arts community.
I was like, so this will be my hello.
Yeah.
I know you,
it's like,
you
hey,
guys
I've
know
been
me.
here,
I've
but
been here, but hi.
Hi
but
again.
like, this is like a body of work,
That's
introduction to you guys. You'll see more than one piece at a time.
Yeah.
So yes, that was June of 2022. That was amazing. And I think a lot of opportunities, residencies, offers, and other shows came from seeing that full body of work at one time. So yeah, I think that was a good one that kind of propelled me on. And funny enough, from COVID and doing work online, I connected with people out in California, and they kept me in mind for a group show out in San Francisco, which that was the beginning of 2023.
Okay.
I was in a group show at the San Francisco Museum of Contemporary Art.
Nice.
Please, I hope it's not saying the name wrong. But yes. And so I had one piece that I borrowed from a collector. We put it on loan for the show. So I flew out there. I met so many wonderful people. And then I actually ran into a gallerist. His name is Jonathan Carver Moore. And he's like, well, I'm opening a gallery. Would you like to do a solo show? Yes. So, Black owned young man.
Oh my goodness. Googling right now.
Yes. And so we had lunch and we kept in touch from January on, and we hooked back up again in May. He's like, are you sure you want to do the solo show? I'm like, I'm positive. I'm ready. Let's do this. And so August of 2023, I did a solo show with him, which was amazing, wonderful turnout. And him and I have just really partnered up. This weekend in San Francisco, there's Fog Art Fair. Nice. And he has my work presenting there right now. And it has a great reception. But yeah. So things have just been coming. It's really keeping in touch and keeping those connections that you made and just kind of building
especially
on that.
the warm ones. Yeah. Because I feel like we can meet so many people, but when someone's genuinely excited and like really proactive and like wanting to work with you, it's just like, oh honey, you gonna stay right here in my pocket.
Exactly. You meet a lot of people and
it's like, oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I'm not the best with names. I'm really good with faces and details of the person. So when I'm able to speak with someone, it really sticks in my mind, and I can't keep up with everyone, but there are those gems and those people that you made these connections with that you want to keep in touch with. But yeah.
I love that. Oh man, that's so exciting. So how many times have you shown in California now? Or in San Francisco, I guess.
This will be 3 times now.
Okay.
The group show, the solo show, and now at the Fog Art Fair. So yeah, 3 times.
Okay.
But yeah.
So now that was, I mean, we're kind of to today, but in 2023, were there any like major highlights in art related things that you did?
Was it? That was 2020.
That was 23?
That was 23.
Okay.
Yeah, January 23 was the group show.
Okay.
August was the solo show.
Nice.
And then now Fog Art Fair. Yes.
Okay. Nice. Just like trying to keep
it down. Yes.
So how have you, I know that pricing work is always very difficult.
I knew you were going to go there.
No. Oh yeah. So, and as you present yourself more and as people, you know, get to know your work more, I mean, your value only increases. So kudos to those individuals at Basel who bought your piece. Kudos to the person the few people who bought your pieces straight off of Instagram during
You don't even
COVID.
Want to know. No, one of my...
Where was your pricing then? And even if you had no process, that's okay. We can talk about that too. But like, where was your pricing then? You know, and you're shocked that someone even wanted to buy something from you off of Instagram compared to how you're maybe more strategically thinking about pricing now and where your pricing is at now.
Let me tell you, it was under 100.
Okay. Yeah. And I know it didn't take you an hour to do it.
I know. I didn't know what I was doing. And it was especially, I think, at the church fair.
Okay.
50,
Mm.
maybe 75,
Mm.
maybe. I don't know. But yes, I
But
had no
that's still
idea.
like the time period of like, I feel like every artist goes through that phase of, will anybody even buy it?
Yeah, is this a hobby?
You're right.
Am I
It's
just
nothing
doing
serious.
some things
That's
every
what my
now and
mom, like,
then?
I've been trying to like monetize my mom's baking for
Mm-hmm.
years, and she's just like, no, I just love to do it. And like the cost of eggs are going up, flour, cream cheese, all these things. So I'm just like, lady, you're in the negative. She's like, oh, but I just love it. It's a hobby.
Same way. So I was
But
like,
once
I
you
don't
make that
know.
shift of
Yeah.
like, hey, this is going to be a career, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to become full time. We got to be
Yes.
thinking more sustainably, more
Yes.
realistically.
Think about
Where's
the
that strategy now?
it is well, I think about it way more than I used to. I think about the time that it takes me, like, oh, the detail, people see the detail on the hair and it's 3D stitching and they're like, oh, that's gorgeous, but they don't know that that took me 8 hours to do
Hair.
just hair on one figure.
Mm.
And so I was thinking, I pay for these classes, I go to these workshops, that's putting into my education and
Yes.
learning how to manipulate these textiles and fabrics. So I'm thinking about, as well as my time and knowledge that I've pulled over the years, this is 20 some years of knowledge of sewing and
Yep.
learning as I go. That's into each one of these
And where
pieces.
you're sourcing the fabric, because it's not like you just go into Joanne Fabrics and shopping
Exactly.
every
I'm
week.
sourcing from mom and pop shops from when I travel. I've brought fabric from Dubai and from Tanzania, and I was in Berlin. So I've brought fabric from all those places, as well as sourcing my mother's vintage fabric
Ooh,
that she's had from
priceless.
like the 80s. Yeah,
Priceless.
exactly.
Priceless. Stores that don't
So,
even exist anymore.
exactly. So I was really just, you need to be conscientious of how you're putting together this work
Yeah.
and all these pieces and these different places that this fabric has traveled from, these threads, this is a 100% silk thread, this is, and really thinking about the work that I put into the pieces. So I kind of write out, I write out from each piece, where fabric has come from,
Okay.
um, as like a kind of archival of the piece as well. And
Nice.
then I started, I think it's Clockify. It's an app.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll clock in just like I'm doing clocking
Yep.
in for work to keep
Yep.
track of my hours
I'm
of what I'm
awful at
putting it in.
keeping up with that, but yes,
Yes,
it is.
it
It's on my
works.
computer. It's on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's very helpful.
Clock in, and I'm just like,
You'd be surprised how the time can fly, because looking back, you're like, oh, maybe that was an hour. And then you can look at Clockify and feel like you've been at this for 3.
Yes, exactly. And it's like it takes me a full day to dye fabric. No one, if that's a short time of
Yeah.
dyeing of is a day. So multiple days just to prep my canvas for
Yeah.
our painters out there. That's it. But I'm like, days to prep my canvas to even start. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just really like, Adana, you put some work into this.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah.
sure did. You
But
sure
yeah,
did. Are you actively selling work on your website?
I am not.
Okay.
Because all the pieces I have right now are with Jonathan Carver Moore Gallery out in San Francisco.
Okay.
So on my website, I just have my portfolio. He does keep an artsy page of my work.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So that's wonderful of all
Slang on
available pieces.
artsy.
I know. I feel so,
Oh my goodness.
I'm here. But yes. But yeah. So
that's like the GOAT wiki for artists.
listen. So yeah. So I just have it on there. You can see what's left.
Mm-hmm.
But yes.
And what it's gonna cost.
And what's it gonna cost?
Get an Adana Tillman.
Get into the business. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I love that. That's so exciting.
Yeah. I'm super happy. It's going really well. I'm not out there for the fair this weekend, but I hear it's going extremely well. So I'm excited. Yeah.
What do you feel like, I mean, as you think about and kind of reflect on like just everything we've been talking about, like how do you feel about your art practice?
I'm happy and nervous. I see myself, I don't want to pigeonhole myself. I want to always kind of be expanding. And that was one of the takeaways. I went to Basel this year just to kind of see the work and get inspired. I want to think bigger. I can always think bigger and think of different ways to present my work. And that was really, I was like, I'm thinking too small. I'm thinking in a box. You can take this wherever you want to go. So I'm excited I've been learning some new things. I've gotten some new books for Christmas.
Nice.
So I've just been kind of practicing and some stitching, doing some practice dyeing, seeing what turns out, but kind of seeing where can I take this? Where's the next level for me? Like,
yeah.
And what does that look like? But yeah.
Are you proud? Do you feel like a strong sense of accomplishment? Are you, what, has anything surprised you?
It's all surprised me. Let me tell you.
Everything's a surprise. I woke up this morning, surprise.
I was surprised. Because, like, I never imagined. You hear, when I went to school in, high school or college, and even in college, you did see people who majored in arts, but that was just for fun. Were you going to make a career of it?
Yeah.
Was it going to really sustain you? That wasn't practical. You need to go be a business major, business admin.
The practical.
Yeah. So, like, I'm just surprised all the time. And people's like, oh, you're just so wonderful to talk to. It's because I'm surprised and so gracious. and it's just like, I love the work. And I think that's really, I'm concerned with, am I proud of the work?
Yeah.
Do I love the work? And I can put it out there. If you love it, I'm surprised, I'm gracious. If not, because everyone's work is not for everybody.
Yeah.
But before I send it out the door, I need to be proud and happy of it. But yeah, I'm surprised all the time. I'm doing what?
I love that.
You want me to show where? Your work is here. We would love to do this for 2025. Someone asked me about 2025 and I said, excuse me? And yeah, so I was like, it's wonderful.
That's a great spot to be in. It's like, yeah, we talking a year or two in advance. Yeah. Yes, please.
I was like, okay, sure. What do you have? But yeah.
I love that.
Super grateful. But yeah.
I think you're doing amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're doing amazing.
I'm trying. And I guess it's working.
You're actively doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not even trying. You are doing.
I'm doing.
You are actively doing.
I do realize I need to, sometimes I let the moments pass me by and really sit in the moment. Like, you're here. Yeah. Your work is here.
Here are your flowers.
Exactly. Sit in that moment of gratitude and just realize, do you know what we was in the parking lot of the church with your Krispy Kreme donuts trying to sell the work, and look where you are now. But yes.
Not the Krispy Kreme donuts.
And they were warm. It was to entice customers.
I love it. So what is next for Adana Tillman?
Lots of things that I'm happy to say.
Oh, by the way, for context, it is January 2024.
Oh,
so
yes.
Just
so we
for
have
context.
so we have the whole year ahead of us.
Yes.
I am showing with Nowhere Art Gallery. They're based in Oak Bluffs.
Okay. Where is that?
Is that Massachusetts?
I don't know. Maybe.
Martha's Vineyard. If that helps. Yeah, Martha's Vineyard, Oak Bluffs.
Nice,
yes.
Nice. Yeah.
She's gonna kill me. Yes.
Yeah,
with Oak Bluffs. Yes. Okay, Massachusetts. Myself, along with 4 to 5 other female artists, will be exhibiting in Venice this year at a satellite exhibit. I'll call it satellite because it's not Venice Biennale, but it'll be running through at the same time. So we'll be going there and we'll each sharing a couple works. So I'm really excited about that. I'm trying to, hopefully I can make my way there and see the work as
of course you will.
Yeah,
of course you will.
I know. I need to be on my gondola and my water taxi. I need to do all of that.
It's not that expensive to get to Venice, actually.
Yeah. I've been looking. I was like, this is doable.
It sure is.
But yeah. So that is, that'll be in April. I'm super excited about that. It was a wonderful opportunity. And I've seen the other artists' works and I'm so excited to be in that company. And I was like, you sure you guys want me? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so that's
you
great.
Asked?
Listen, I'm always asking. I have to be sure.
No, don't ask. I mean, you can be surprised, like behind the scenes.
But I gotta be like, yes. And
because that's the company you deserve to be in. And actually, my mentor told me really great advice she gave me. She was like, you know, if you get invited or accepted into a group show, she was like, don't be afraid to turn it down.
Mm-hmm.
And always ask, like, who am I showing with? Because
Mm-hmm.
she was like, the company you're around is important, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because if the caliber of the work is less than yours, that's not a good look for you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not always, there's
You have to look.
that could go either way, you
Yeah,
know,
you
like,
have to look at the opportunity. But yes,
so
and
that's amazing.
yes. So and someone else told me, and I have to remind me of this sometimes because I am surprised, and I'm always like double checking, like, did you mean me? And someone told me, they was like, if you're in the room, it's because you belong in the room. And you
Amen.
need to keep that in your mind whenever
Mm-hmm.
you can be surprised, but if you're
Mm-hmm.
there, it's because you belong and you
Mm-hmm.
need to be there and you're supposed to be
Yeah,
there.
totally okay
So
to be surprised, be shocked, all
yeah.
that, but still receive. Don't block nothing. Did you mean, yes, I'm sorry, you said my name?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm receiving
Present.
it all. They're wonderful artists. We just did like a Zoom to kind of meet each other. And I was
Nice.
just like, oh, their work is amazing. I was just like, oh, I'm so excited. And I was just like, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to show up and show out, as I like to
love
say.
that.
But yes. What else? I have details not in cement yet, not in set in stone, sorry. Set for in Atlanta for later towards the end of this year, probably
Okay.
October, November. So look out for details for that. So those are really two opportunities I'm very excited about.
Are you
They're coming
making
up.
new work for both of these?
I am, because I'm crazy.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But
Explain.
I'm not starting from scratch. I will say
Okay.
that I'm not starting from scratch. I have been working, so it's
Okay.
not like
You have some things in the queue.
exactly. There's things in the queue. I won't, I got to save my hands from carpal tunnel or anything. We want to be doing this. Longevity is the goal. So
Yes.
yes, things in the
Yes.
queue, but yeah.
That's
Yes.
great. Oh my goodness. Are you still I mean I'm going to hold out to see what these new pieces look like. But I've appreciated seeing you play with the shape of the canvas is
Yes.
what I'll
Yes.
call it. And not necessarily a square or a rectangle, having multi figures, overlapping figures.
Yes. It comes out beautifully, but I tell you, it's a bear. But yes.
I bet. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, I like to, and people, I don't make that decision at the beginning, and I can't. I wish I was more methodical, but I am not. A lot of that things come to me as I'm working,
Sure.
and so yeah, I don't like a rectangle or square too much. Like let's put them in a space. And I feel like when you have those uneven edges or having the feet or the sides, it kind of puts them in a space and takes them out of that piece of work, out of the boundaries of that, and people can place them in their mind. They place them in their world, or they put them in some place, which I really love. But yeah, I don't think it just comes, and I just be working. And there was one I was like, should I cut it? Should I not? Where should I cut it? I started cutting a couple different places, and then you just gotta go for it.
Yeah.
Because once it's cut, it's done.
Yeah.
There's no adding more canvas to it.
So where are you working out of now? Because for context, you've had a home studio for how long?
Forever. I actually didn't move into a studio until April of last year of 2023.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I got a studio at Mint Gallery. I rented the studio
Okay.
there. So I've been working out of there, getting everything out my apartment.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, it's nice to have a place to go and kind of know that when I walk into the space, this is what I'm working on, and having all my things there.
You're still working from home sometimes, though.
Yes. Yeah. I have multiple machines. I keep one at my apartment. Just, when it's freezing.
The reality.
Yeah. And it's cozy sometimes. And I'll keep things, or I have a transportation pack that I'll keep scissors and needles and things, so I can just grab it, work at my apartment. But yeah, so yeah, I have 3 or 4 machines. Yeah. I have a travel one. When I do residencies, I take a sewing machine with me. It's lightweight, and it can get banged around, and it's okay. I'm not gonna have a panic attack. And then the mother machine stays at my studio. This gigantic Bernina. But yes.
I love that. That's so exciting. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know your growth, where you've been coming from with your work, where you're going with your work. I think it's really special and great. Stay surprised.
Thank you. I will.
I think that I think both can exist, right?
Mhm.
You can continue to stay surprised, but also know that you're getting the recognition you deserve when you deserve it. Like, it's all divine timing,
Yes,
like you're supposed to be in that space.
Mhm.
And I think that's beautiful, but you are killing it.
Thank you so much. Thank
You
you
are
for
killing
having me.
it, and I'm so
trying.
proud.
Thank you. I'm working so hard. I just want people to know
I knew
work
her
so
win.
Oh, goodness.
You've actually inspired me now, where now I'm just like, I should really like commission something from each of the artists that I speak with. But we got to get our coins up there, but that'll happen.
I wanted, there's something, I feel like I wanted to get artwork from like everyone in Tila. And I was just like, I need to like get myself together.
Yeah.
Because yes, that's what
baby
I would
steps.
love. Yes,
I've got a Chloe.
Oh, you do.
And I've got an Alex. It's
I was
on
gonna say,
top of the
I
shelf.
saw that. I have an Alex as well. And I was like, and then
so I need a Miriam.
Yes. She was like, well, am I
Adana.
next? Miriam was like, well, what happened? You have an Alex, what happens?
And Miriam's collected from me. So I'm like, I need a Miriam.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a commission though. I think same for you. Like, just with the way you both work. I mean, she's collaging with paper and you're collaging with textiles and fabrics, but I don't know. I think it'll be a commission.
Oh yeah. I feel that. And I'm receiving it.
I can't wait to see you in Venice. You're gonna love it. It's beautiful.
I already have a dress picked out for my water taxi. Just
Yep. Gonna have the camera and the tripod.
Yeah.
And, yep.
Yeah, I'm already ready. Yes.
I believe it. It'll be great.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
And so excited. Please let the good people know where they can find you, follow you, learn more about your work, inquire. If you are also a textile artist, if you're interested in any parts of Adana's career that resonates with you, please, listen up. Think about where you can connect with her. Especially while people are so accessible and friendly like Adana.
Exactly. I answer all things. Yeah. Like, you answer I'm like, yeah, I did. I answered your DM.
I think you'd be an amazing mentor to anybody who is willing to like do the work and figure it out.
Definitely. I'm open to it all. But yes, my website is adanatillman.com. Or you can find me on Instagram. Again, it's Adana Denise. Denise is DENEICE art. Either way, I answer from inquiries from my website as well as on Instagram. I check my email and I check my DMs regularly, so I will be able to answer you. So yes, reach out to me there.
Sweet.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the In Between Artists podcast. Catch you on the next one.